The life of man upon earth is a warfare. That's a bold statement, and it comes from the seventh chapter of the book of Job. You know, it's easy for us to feel like our lives are nothing but the circumstances in our life, like the things that happen to us make us who we are. And I think that's a problem with modern psychology, is that so much of the times we're trying to figure out what created somebody, instead of looking at life in a different way. Now, if you read this chapter 7, these first few verses, man, Job's saying, he says, look, if I lie down to sleep, I shall say, when shall I arise? And again, I shall look, for the evening shall be filled with sorrow, even till darkness. He says, my days have passed more swiftly than the web is cut by the weaver, and are consumed without any hope. He says, remember that my life is but wind, and my eyes shall not return to see good things. These are the sayings of a guy who's been through bad times. And it's not a small thing to say, because life is so full of tragedies. I have a child. We go to St. Jude for treatment. St. Jude is a children's hospital that specializes in treatment of cancers. My daughter has the best prognosis of any kid there. We feel extremely blessed. But when you walk around and you see these children, with their heads shaved and just that look very pale and weak, at different times of their treatment, like it breaks your heart, And it's easy for us to say, man, life is nothing but struggle, and it's nothing but these sorrows and this pain and this agony. And there's no purpose to any of it. There's no meaning behind it, because how can God allow it, right? It's so easy to feel that way and to get just beaten down by the circumstances in our life. But if you start to look at a larger narrative of the story that's being told, and we fast forward and we see Jesus, and if you go to the book of Mark, where there's these people, they're wanting him to go out and they're telling him, look, everybody's looking for you. And he says, look, I got to go to the next town over. I got to preach to them. And then to the next town, and then to the next. He's like, this is why I'm here, to spread this message. And it would say, while he's spreading the message, he was casting out demons. And I know that sounds kind of spiritual and woo-woo and crazy. And you're like, I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in all that. But there's this idea that what Jesus was saying in his ministry is that there's a purpose in life that's beyond our complete comprehension, but you're living inside that purpose. And so you can either look at life as what happens to you, or you can turn the tables. Now, I start off with saying that life is a warfare because Job said it, and I think it's a cool statement. But there's this other guy named Ignatius. He's not in the Bible. He basically founded the Jesuit order, which I know gets a lot of bad press and everything, but also called the Society of Jesus. But anyway, he had this spiritual exercise where you were to imagine yourself being called by the king. And the king is Jesus. And the king says, I want you to go conquer the world. And I want you to understand that if you're going to be in my service, if you're going to fight for me, there's going to be nights where we're out, battling. There's going to be nights where we're tired and we're cold and we're hungry. Are you willing to endure that for me? And so in a way, he's flipping the idea that instead of looking at life as the circumstances that happen to you, you're looking at these horrible circumstances as things that you can sacrifice up and just say, I'm going to endure them because I serve a greater purpose. And through that, you can find meaning in your life, even when times are difficult. Now, I need to say something else, that when we're talking about conquering the world, because I think that has a very strange connotation, Jesus taught that you don't conquer the world with the sword or with the guns. You conquer it through love. You conquer it through acts of charity, by healing the sick and by casting out demons. Now, one of my favorite lines, and I'm probably going to mess this up. It's a quote by G.K. Chesterton, and I'm just going to paraphrase it. But he says, look, fairy tales don't exist to teach children that dragons are real, because children already know that dragons are real. Fairy tales exist to teach children that dragons can be killed. Now, how cool is that? How do you see your life? What worldview are you, what lens are you looking through? Are you just letting everything that happens to you define who you are? Or can you step outside of your circumstances and sacrifice your life to a greater cause? Submit to God's will, to God's love. Are you willing to conquer the world through acts of charity, through healing the sick, through helping the poor? Or are you just going to live your life for yourself? Make your own decisions, make your own path. Let everything that happens to you become an excuse. The world's too full of excuses. We don't need any more excuses. Instead, we need purpose. We need light and we need love. Are you willing to serve? All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.